Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, NHL fans. We are in the midst, literally today, as we speak. Stanley Cup Finals, Rangers versus the Kings, and as I'm looking, 2-1 Rangers. Let's go Rangers. But I wanted to give you my thoughts, my analysis of the Stanley Cup playoffs and how these teams match up. And obviously, if you can't tell, I'm a New York Ranger fan. 20 years since we won the Cup. I was 13 years old when we last won the Cup. And literally, as a strong NHL fan, diehard NHL fans, you always want your team to be in that position. It hasn't come often for us. Unlike the Devils and Kings, Blackhawks, our last win was 20 years ago. So, interesting to see what will happen. But my thoughts, how they match up. Goaltending, let's start with that. Henrik Lundqvist. King Henrik, the King, has been the most notable, I think, difference maker in the playoffs, hosting .928 save percentage, 2.03 goals against average. Been carrying the Rangers for the better part, honestly, of about probably 2 months, and he has surrendered 15 goals in the past 9 games. Lundqvist, when you look at him, plays with absolute composure and bravado. I like that word, bravado. I do. One would argue, looking at the Kings, that he's playing just as well as Jonathan Quick was in the 2012 Stanley Cup Finals, which brings me to Jonathan Quick, the goalie for the Kings. Looking at it, he really has not been quite as invincible during this year's Kings playoff run, but he has made the saves he has needed to make and won the games that he's needed to win. His save percentage, I believe, is .908, slightly misleading. Advantage Rangers as far as the goaltending. Something to note as well, that the Rangers are the 5th seed in the East, the Kings are the 6th seed, and the Kings have more points than the Rangers do. And it's quite obviously that the West is a far more superior conference than the East. But anyway, going on to the defense. Looking at the Rangers defense, top 4 defensemen, Girardi, Ryan McDonough, Mark Stahl, Anton Stroman. And these guys have played consistently well for the Rangers. Quality shot blocker guys and effective one-on-one defenders. Girardi provides that physical presence. As far as the Kings, Drew Doughty, he probably has the most impact among defensemen in the series. Elite level player, and who obviously makes big plays in all 3 zones of the ice, in my opinion. Crucial to the Kings' power play and the overall success. Now, looking at Doughty, he leads the Kings in blocked shots. Muzzin, Willie Mitchell, the Kings' other 20-minute defenseman. But I will take my 4 core with Dan Girardi over the Rangers defenseman at any point. Unbiased opinion. Offense. Kings averaging 3.48 goals a game compared with 2.70 for the Rangers. Don't ask me how I came up with those numbers. Down in my head, I looked it up. Over a 7-game series, that's about a difference of 5 or 6 goals. I looked that up as well. The Rangers, though, are the better 5-on-5 team, believe it or not. The Kings' edge comes on the power play, where New York has struggled. Still, the Kings seem more dangerous, I think, on offense. The Marion Gaborik duel that he's been with, dynamic and the speedy Gaborik, former Ranger, was always a breakaway waiting to happen. He's at this point leading the NHL with 12 playoff goals. Dustin Brown, how can you forget him? He's, as far as Dustin Brown, what I wanted to say, he's a punishing hitter. Big defensive guy. Justin Williams is an underrated offensive threat. And Pearson has helped the Kings more formidable up front. How can you forget about Jeff Carter? Makes his presence known every day. The Rangers, on the other hand, a little bit have to work a little bit harder to find a net. Marty St. Louis has been on fire. For what the Rangers, again, I've said this many videos, what they truly need is Rick Nash and Brad Richards, to have a big series. Carl Hagelin, speed. Man, if he could have a big series, important for us. Special teams, as far as the power play, you got to give that to the Kings. Penalty killing, you have to give that to the Rangers. And the stats are misleading as far as the Kings' power play. 25.4%. I can look that up as well. You gotta look at it. You gotta be realistic, and you gotta realize that the Kings' swagger and confidence is off the chart. It's almost like when they fall behind, they expect to rally. Just look at this series that these Kings have got here, to this point. Came back. Dave came back from the Kings, Blackhawks, Game 7s. Every series that they played has went to Game 7s. This guy, these Kings, they almost expect to be behind. They almost like to play behind. Meanwhile, with the Rangers, though, it's not that easy for them to come from behind. But you can't doubt that we have good dressing room group, good leaders, and then again we have the King, Henrik. Final predictions: Rangers in 7. Why, I don't need to explain. It's just because it's the Cup. 20 years in the making. I think, as a Ranger fan, I'll get to see a Cup again. Let me know what your thoughts are, and until next time, adios, over and out.